I could take the whole throttle body and like spin it easy by hand.
Boy, that was the easiest motor tear down I've ever done. That is a lot of play.
Holy cow! That was fast. These are stage 1 Elkas that are on this guy. So we're gonna go over the country whoops here real quick. Alright, so we've got another Pioneer 500 today, and I don't mean as in I've gotten a lot of these to work on. These are stout little machines. I just meant another Pioneer 500 besides Mighty Mouse in here. But this Pioneer 500 has some pretty bad engine knock. I tried to record it in a shot before this, and you really can't hear it on camera, but trust me, it's knocking pretty good.
This Pioneer, let's see, how many miles is on this guy? 4,763 miles on it.
So that doesn't seem like a whole lot of miles for having bad engine knock, which obviously we're gonna have to check things, do a full rebuild. It's probably either rod knock or the top end has just wore down past the service limit, and so the piston's got some play in it. Combination of both, which as bad as the knock is, it's probably needing both the top end, but pretty much a full engine rebuild. And like I said, that doesn't seem like a whole lot of miles to need a full engine rebuild. But upon investigating this thing prior to starting to film, the intake boot was loose. I could take the whole throttle body and like spin it easy by hand, and probably could have pulled it off had I had room with the airbox and stuff off. So that has been loose for who knows how long. So this guy's been sucking in a lot of unfiltered air through that. So I'm taking it that just caused things to wear prematurely, and thus now we have engine knock and are needing a full engine rebuild. Now I know a lot of you out there would like to see a step-by-step process of how this is done.
Oh yes, I do.
But when it's a paying customer's machine, I don't like to take the time to do that for several reasons. The main reason is when I'm charging by the hour, setting up cameras, talking to cameras actually adds up to a lot of extra time. And I tried keeping all that separate and only charging for the time working versus the time I'm filming, and that just got to be a big jumbled up mess. It was really hard to keep track of and then figure out what I actually worked on the machine at the end. Just a bit too much, and that is too much time regardless, and it takes me longer to get the job done. And another reason is if you need a step-by-step video on how to rebuild an engine, you probably should not be rebuilding an engine. Not to be mean, but it's real easy to screw something up if you don't know what you're doing. And step-by-steps are good for guides, but unless you're familiar with stuff, you should not rely on step-by-steps videos on YouTube to say rebuild a whole car. There's a lot of little things that you don't see that a lot of people won't include just because they don't think of it, that if you forget to do could cause major catastrophe. So it's not going to be a complete step-by-step, just a quick little highlight video here, and I tried to still make it entertaining for you guys. So I guess the thing we need to do right now is to pull this motor.
So we're gonna do the quick method here. We're just gonna grab it right out. Voila, look at that. Motor's all apart nice and neat. Boy, that was the easiest motor tear down I've ever done.
Boy, if only it was that easy, huh, guys? But anyway,
motor is all tore down, laid out nice and neat. So we found several things out that was causing the knock. First off, if you'll see here, we've got a new cylinder jug, new piston rings all laid out, ready to go back in, because the factory ones,
simply put, everything was past its service limit. Our jug was out of round by more than what the manual says is workable service limit. Our piston pin was wore, rings were done. The piston itself, the piston pin hole, was marginable as being passing, but with the whole top end kit, it came with a new one anyway, so we'll go ahead and throw a new one in. But even though our whole top end was definitely ready for a rebuild, I don't think that was the reason for the knock.
I think the reason for the knock was this right here with our rod. I doubt it's hard to pick up on the camera. That is a lot of play. Now our hole here for a piston pin is in spec. It's perfect. It's not wore. But here on the crank side, that is a lot of play. For comparison, here's our brand new one. And, boy, let's see if I can get so you guys can see. There is very, very little play. I don't even know if the camera's picking that up. I can feel it because I'm doing it by hand. But it's definitely not this much. I know you can see that in the camera. But anyway, I'm pretty sure this is what the knock was. Like you guys see, I got everything tore down, mostly cleaned up. All the bearings and both halves of the crank are replaced. I got a whole bottom end kit that came with new bearings, the new crank assembly and rod. So basically, we're ready to put this guy back together
and then get it back in. Boy, I wonder if this motor would go back together as easy as it came apart.
3, 2, 1. Voila! Full motor.
Oh, this is a small motor, but it's a heavy motor. Oh, man.
The trick comes in getting positioned so I can drop this down in here. Alright, down. Now we just got to do all the jockeying around. This back. Started. Started.
That's it. It's going in the shaft. This line must be lined.
Yeah, I got that lined up.
Yeah.
There's that. We're close. There we go.
Oh, right down in place. Yes.
Alrighty.
That's good.
Oh, now if I can get down into that bolt over there, that'll be the trick. You can see it. Can't get to it. Oh, yeah. Too much. Right there. Should get us pretty close. Oh, right through. Like nothing. That wasn't too bad. Alright, about to do the first startup after being all together. Why do you always get so nervous during this part? That's working. Here it goes. Holy cow! That was fast. Quiet as a whistle. That is awesome.
That's great. That's
just gonna let it run here a little bit to fill the oil. I'll have to top off the oil, obviously, and the coolant. All right, guys, no more engine knock. Woo!
All right, test drive time. Give her a shakedown run here and make sure everything's working okay. It's crazy because this don't have power steering, and it's been a long time since I drove one of these without power steering. She sounds nice and quiet now. Temperature up here, so we make sure we get her up to temperature. So the fan and stuff kicks on. Try to make sure our cooling system's all bled. See how it shifted right there? That's why I do not like manual. Shocks did. These are stage 1 Elkas that are on this guy. So we're going to go over the country whoops here real quick. Get us a little comparison to the Walker Evans. Now yes, my Walker Evans are more comparable to stage 3 Elkas, but I can already tell these stage 1s are an improvement over the stock shocks. Stage 3 Elkas would be more comparable, but compared to the stock shocks that are on here, these stage 1, I can tell an improvement, and it's been a long time since I've been in a stock Pioneer 500. So if you're looking for a budget option, these Elka stage 1s combined with some better tires with lower air pressure and your sway bar off, which this one has the rear sway bar disconnected. It'd be a good budget upgrade for suspension. No, it's not going to get you the plush, cushy ride of the Walker Evans or the Walker Evans combined with Joe's long travel kit. But if your budget's tight, Elka Stage 1, definitely an improvement. Without power steering isn't hard to steer, but since I've had power steering on mine for forever, it feels so heavy. Pioneer 500, after I give her a quick bath, since I got her a little bit muddy here on the test drive, is ready to go back to the owner. I'll take her in, I'll check the oil real quick, check the coolant, make sure it's topped off and good now that we've got her up to temperature. But other than that, this Pioneer 500 engine rebuild is good to go. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you on the next one.